Well, hello and welcome to the Felicia Lockhart channel. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in with me. You know, I started a series about a year ago and it was called The Black Church. About a year and a half ago was The Black Church, The Secrets That No One Will Ever Tell. I believe that the problems that are going on with the Black community are closely related to that of their household as well as their belief system. You know, there was a time when I was raising my children where I would go to church and we would start our breakfast at the same time that I would start my Sunday supper. I would get my daughter dressed in her beautiful little dresses with the lace on it and put her bows in her hair. My sons, I would put their little belts on and make sure that their shoes were shined just right, just so that we would eat our breakfast, go to Sunday school because we didn't want to miss the lesson, and then go right into our afternoon service. After we would do that, we would end the service and everybody would go to their respective homes. We'd eat our supper, come back nice and full, and get right into it for the rest of the day, because Sundays for us was a day of complete and unadulterated worship. That's what we did. It was a ritual for us. As a matter of fact, I think my children can possibly remember more times being in church than they can without as kids. I used to sing professionally, and so they would go to sleep on the pews while I had to sing, or while I was recording in the church, they would go to sleep. So my children knew what church was about. So today, I want to talk about a very terrible funeral. A funeral processional that is so long, it goes for miles and miles and miles and miles. This funeral is for none other than the Black Church. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Ecclesia Negro is gone. She no longer exists. What was once a safe haven for several Black families, especially those with mothers without fathers, single parents trying their best to do the best they could for their kids, those days are no longer among us. The mothers that used to get up and get their kids together can attest to what I'm saying. Because as you look at it right now, those pastors and those first ladies and those women on the motherboard who would always have a word from God, who were always the praying women of the church, are no more. As I've watched the greats pass away, as I watched the great pastors pass away, John Olstein, a very good man of God. As I watch more pass away, oh, I remember so many good preachers. R.W. Shambach. I remember ministering with him in his tent in Los Angeles, California. I remember those good days of the people who really preached the word because they cared about the people. I remember those days. I remember getting up early. I remember coming home late. I remember it all. But that long processional that I'm telling you about exists. And it exists in memory of. Now, those old women who used to pray every Sunday and teach the young women how to raise their children and how to love their husbands, how to take care of their homes. All the pastors who really did love God and really wanted the best for the men in the church and the children, they're no longer. They've all been replaced by charlatans, by pimps, by hustlers, by hoes and prostitutes. They've all been replaced. And now what's left of Ecclesia Negro is nothing but sweet and unbelievable memories. Memories of how it used to be. As I tap into the series that I did last year, I want to begin to talk about specific things. In 2012, I was ridiculed for doing on my blog talk radio show a story that I called Wolves in Sheep's Clothing. I talked about 3 notable pastors and 3 situations that happened in Atlanta at the time. One pastor was of a megachurch. Another pastor was of a megachurch, and another was a guy who was pretending to be the pastor while taking advantage of the women at the church that his wife worked at. You see, he was passing around AIDS to all the women who lusted after him like they were M&Ms or lottery tickets. He was passing it out. Another one was Bishop Earl Polk, a bishop who was in Atlanta and was actually one of the founding fathers of religion in that area. He was very well known, very well known. And the other one was a very well buffed bishop who ran a big church that everybody would know if I said the name, but he was actually noted on the show that I did because there was a lot of things that he was accused of doing with children. You see, his church ended up paying those young men off a little bit later, but that's not who I want to talk about today. Today I want to talk about the fact that back then I was ridiculed for bringing those topics up because people were not talking about the truth. Today what I want to deal with is the fact that right now we're actually fighting to see who gets the story about the dirt that's going on now first. None of us want to take the time to do any research to find out if the story is correct before we respond. And I want to say that I was guilty because there are two vloggers that I'm very admirable of. I admire both of them. One has a very quirky way of doing what he does. He makes up little words and he doesn't use cuss words, but he makes up funny words, and I love him. As a matter of fact, I've used some of those words myself. Instead of the F word, he'll say fruck with an R, and it's hilarious. The other one is very passionate about what he believes as well. Now, he's a little more blue, so if you're into comedians, you know what a difference between a regular comedian and a blue comedian is, so he's a little bit more blue. But what affected me personally today was the culmination of what had been going on between these two gentlemen. It made it very difficult for me because I, like I said, admire both of them. But the problem is that the stuff that's going on in the church that is happening to everybody right now is so bad that everybody that was a part of the church at one time is now fighting to be first, fighting to tell the story first, uncovering one another, allegedly uncovering one another, telling what they heard somebody else say, telling what somebody else told them. One of the gentlemen have tried to stay out of it, and today I was very offended by something that was said about him. Because of my past, I think I sort of reacted. But the truth of the matter is that the situation still stands the same. We don't know what we don't know. And in as much as I've laid out a foundation for you to understand that there's a lot of trash going on right now in the black church, and that black church is no more, and there's a funeral for the black church, I still want all of us to be cognizant of the fact that the word of the Most High is the only thing that's true. And if after all of the dust settles with all of the uncovering that the Most High is doing right now within the church, that we would at least still hold on to the word, and that we would give our brother or our sister the opportunity to tell us truth before we believe it. Allow them to talk to us and tell us, because today I responded in a way that was based on nothing but the pain and the experiences that I have had in my life, and I couldn't believe what I heard. But one good thing that has come out of this is this conversation that I'm able to have with you. The conversation that says to remember to put the Most High God first. In all of our ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct our paths. He is the light to our footsteps. He will guide us into all truth, and that if we seek Him first and His righteousness, all of the things that we want will be added unto us, and that includes understanding the truth about a circumstance, a situation, or a person. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me this evening, this morning, or this afternoon, whenever you're tuning in. But what I want everybody to get out of this is the one thing, and that is a closer relationship with the Most High. Why do I say that? Because now that we don't have the truth, we don't have the church, we don't have a true leadership for us anymore. And some of you guys are going to say, oh yeah, my pastor's great. I got truth over here at greater such and such, such and such. For all you know, he's going upside his wife's head. For all you know, he's sleeping with the babysitter. For all you know, she's sleeping with her armor bearer. You don't know. So I'm going to tell everyone this evening to please be encouraged. Keep the word that can never, ever, ever go away close to your heart. Take your eyes off of these people because they are not who we think they are in those pulpits anymore. I always think about a song by Fun Boy 3 called The Lunatics Are Taking Over the Asylum, and in so many aspects of our lives today, that's exactly who has the reins. This has been Felicia Lockhart Abram, and I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, allowing me to speak with you and allowing me to share my experiences as transparent as I can. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're listening and you're not a subscriber, it would mean a great deal to me if you would just hit the subscribe button and share. Thank you very much again for tuning in. Take care, and take care of one another.